Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. The campaign is Horror on the Orient Express. It's available from Chaosium. I am the keeper of arcane lore, and this is episode 50. We are back to the 1920s, and our recap will be given by Keith Craig as his character, Gunter Block. But before we begin, we do have a new patron. Aldrich has pledged 10 euros a month to our club. Thank you so much, Aldrich. So without any further delay, let's continue our journey into the darkness. Keith.
Thank you. From the Journal of Gunter Block. The religious are wrong. There is no loving God. No God that cared about humanity would allow such abominations as Dr. Balansada created. No loving God would treat the Christian soldiers of Rome that we read about the way they were treated. I've come to these conclusions through this horrid investigation that I've journeyed on. After tracking down Dr. Balansada to his compound in the woods, we decided that we needed to get in and get the knife from him. We snuck into the compound, climbing over the wall. We were avoiding the guards who were on a regular and predictable patrol. I unfortunately made some noise as I hopped down from the wall, as this damn injured leg of mine just is getting worse and worse. As Thurston and I entered the office via a window, we looked around and I found an ornate knife. However, we concluded it was just a letter opener. But we did find a set of keys to the buildings in the compound. The others made friend with some pig-sheep combination. It came over to investigate what the noise I had made, but he took a liking to Dr. Kurz. We then decided that we couldn't make it over to the laboratory without being seen, so we thought we'd go over to the guardhouse. We creeped over there and surprised the guard that was inside and tied him up and took their weapons. The other guards came in to check what the noise was, and we also captured them. The guards maintain that Dr. Balansada is a good man and that he's doing good work, and he's helping the amputees from the war. He's putting the animal arms onto them so that they can walk again. I can sympathize with them and understand, but then they're cast out from society. So is he really helping them, or is he just setting them even further apart? The guards claim that the doctor says that he's going to be able to move from animal parts to grafting human limbs on them to heal the injured. I can't abide this. As we made our way to the laboratory, the Brotherhood of the Skin arrived, fully armed. We set up an ambush as they crashed through the gate. We took down 3 of the cultists with shotgun blasts and a well-placed rifle shot by Thurston. However, the remaining cultist shot me in the shoulder. I don't know who was looking down on me, but I was lucky. It hit my handcuffs, my stage prop handcuffs, instead of piercing my heart. Knocked me down, and when I woke up, Thurston was bent over me, helping staunch the blood and keeping me alive. Inside the lab, Dr. Balansada was working on another one of his abominations. Some mix-up of antlers, tiger fangs, human arms, a horse's half, and hands made up of tentacles. Again, no God would allow such a thing to exist. Dr. Kurz and Dr. Neruda convinced the doctor that he was wrong. They pointed out that his obsession had led to him killing his friend. In time, Dr. Balansada seemed to snap out of it. He cast the knife across the room, and Dr. Kurz picked it up. Then Dr. Balansada took his pistol and started euthanizing all his creations, and then turned the gun on himself. We decided to throw everything into the incinerator and burn it all. Dr. Kurz keeps wanting to use the knife to help cure the wound in my shoulder, he says that what he says somewhat makes sense. That it was able to heal able to graft on limbs to people. It would heal the wound. I might allow it because I'm in such pain on the left hand side of my body, my my arms, my legs. This damn simulacrum is wearing me down. So we sit down on the train. We read from the Naruto of Tilius Corvus and read about the doom that befell the soldiers of God. Headed into Belgrade this morning, according to Professor Smythe, we should look for a Dr. Todorovich at the museum.
All right. If you like, you could still have maybe an hour. Your served breakfast, which of course on the Orient Express is delicious, fabulous. But you have some time if you want to discuss the Narratio de Telius Corvus before you arrive in Belgrade.
I am curious about the discrepancies between the different descriptions. If we assume, as I think we must, that the porcelain figure in the Narratio is a stage of the Simulacrum, has it changed over time to become armor in one instance, or individual solid parts as we see them?
Must have been broken up at some point.
I mean, I think it would have to. I mean, we've seen it somewhat change when it's in our possession. The arm that Dorian carries, at times it looks like his arm, and other times it looks more like Thurston's or my arm.
Indeed.
These are perception issues of perception, however, whereas the fellow on the horse in the one narrative was wearing something on his person. There was a man inside, was there not? And the things we bear seem to be solid objects, though lightweight.
The narrative of the Roman soldiers, there was a statue trapped in a cage in stalagmites.
No.
The creature, the sorcerer, will only shed his own skin. He wasn't wearing the simulacrum like armor as in the Crusade narrative.
Yeah, I wondered if the statue that was embedded in the stone of the cave, I thought was some primitive stage of the simulacrum, and the murderous entity that took over Tilius Corvus, I assumed went and released it somehow and took possession of it. It's hard. These stories are inconsistent.
It was in a cave, and then it ended up, by the time of the Crusades, in the hands of Sedefkar. So Sedefkar is credited with its creation, but it seems to have predated him by quite a significant amount of time.
Or he fashioned something, or the cult fashioned something. There seem to be stages.
Well, the cult of the Skinless One doesn't seem to exist until, well, it's existed in various forms that changed with leadership, but Sedefkar seemed to be operating in isolation, and so did the German Viscount, who was actually the leper from the Crusades, seemed to be operating independently. We don't know what's become of this vampiric Tilius Corvus, who feasted upon his barge.
Trying to link these ancient and somewhat inconsistent narratives, I assumed that the entity who worshipped the skinless one, who entered Tilius Corvus in that spray of blood, continued to operate a new cult of the skinless one that was eventually the one that the cult that was battled with the figure in the suit of armor at the fountain. I assume the cult is continuous, and these pieces of a body that are unnatural
there seems to be two streams. Here's the problem with the hypothesis that Tilius Corvus got the simulacrum and then carried on the cult, because in the Crusade narrative, there was a Venetian cult looking for Sedefkar and the simulacrum. They were separate.
Mm-hmm.
Sedefkar had that and was working alone. But if Tilius had gotten the statue and that was his cult, how did Sedefkar get a hold of the simulacrum to begin with?
And what of the leper who escaped?
The cult
with
has been desperate to. The cult is still trying to find it. If they had been in league with the Viscount, they would have known. They would have known where to start looking.
Mm-hmm.
I think the modern form and its proto forms in the era of the Crusades, they have been searching for this simulacrum for all this time, and they've never been able to find it because it's been in the hands of third parties. Maligned third parties, but separate from the cult itself. I don't think the Viscount was a member of the cult. I don't think Sedefkar was either. They may have worshipped the same entity, but not in the same religious body.
Yeah, so in a sense, there are always skinless cults, and there are always entities that they are hunting because they wish to combine this thing. Maybe their god, this is his unskinned flesh.
This goes beyond a powerful. This is a very powerful, very real, magical icon. It's not merely a symbolic representation of the god, but I think it is connected with whatever entity it is that they worship directly. And I think you have multiple religious sects. It's multiple denominations of, say, Christians trying to get the same relic. They all want the same knuckle of a saint. But in this case, it's multiple sects of this esoteric evil entity, and they all, in their own way, use this item, this simulacrum, as part of their religious or other magical practices, and they all compete for it. They all want it. Or they're individuals who had it and were acting alone for their own. The Viscount,
Yes.
He was reveling in debauchery. He wasn't spreading the influence. This collector that we've encountered back, the Jigsaw Prince fellow, he's interested in he wants it just for his collection. There are multiple parties interested in the simulacrum for different reasons. Some are more connected with the cult than others, but I do believe that Tilius Corvus, Sedefkar, and the Viscount were all three independent individuals who had control of the simulacrum at one time, maybe.
Yes.
And that the cult is a separate stream that survives independently of them.
That's the thing. There's plenty of people with different motives, all after the same thing, as you say.
All being corrupted by the same thing. And it's manifesting in different ways with different individuals and groups.
which is why we need to get to the bottom of this as quickly as possible. Because for all we know, the closer we get through this journey, the more third parties are going to enter the equation.
I also fear the more we collect pieces
And
together, the more they will draw others to us.
Yes.
And I may have misspoken. Our disappearing friend, the Duke, was only interested in the scroll. He may not know about the simulacrum's existence. But I'm sure if he ever did learn of it,
He'd want that too.
he'd want that
Yes.
And in these separate pieces, they are always adored or worshipped
Reviled.
or cared for. They consume people in one way or another, even when they are not combined to their full power.
Indeed.
I mean, yes,
So-
yeah, any single one of these in isolation is highly dangerous. I mean, think of all the people who died of consumption because the torso was lurking in their prop room in an opera house. It's
Yes, but look what just having them around does to. We used to have phantom pain.
and I guess yeah, the difficulty is there is no singular group in which we can direct our full attention. There are multiple parties after us and after each other. Because again, and whatever's been following us has been killing cultists. So whatever that party is, I mean, I saw it was a gargoyle grotesque thing. Perhaps it is this Tilius Corvus after all these millennium following us across Europe.
The thing is, it's a free-for-all. It's a war. It's almost a hidden war for the Simulacrum between multiple parties. We just have to hope we.
Well, and I mean, this knife, the
Sahis.
or that has been used by different parties for different purposes all this time. Because I mean, the Mad Doctor that we just got it from was using it for his surgical experimentation. He wasn't worshiping any skinless one.
No.
Well, we're not sure how it warps the mind. Maybe they start getting the belief they can do some good with it, and they start going down a very dark path. Maybe that dark path that they start going to leads to more and more chaotic, destructive end goal by whatever this simulacron is and the force that's behind it.
Yes, and the problem is that the more pieces we get, the more attention we will draw to ourselves. It's only natural. We can't keep it hidden. People know about us. We've just got to be careful.
So, but the concern that I have is once we have it, what do we have? 2 more pieces we theorize to get. One in Belgrade and one in Sofia.
Yes, we have the left arm, the torso, and both legs.
Yeah.
So we are missing the right arm and the head.
And the head, yeah. So, and Professor Smythe believes that there was a piece in Belgrade and Sofia, but once we have it, we don't even know how to damage it, much less destroy it.
Well, we have a number of means at our disposal. We need to find all the scrolls.
Yeah.
We also, we have the heart-shaped ruby that we got from the dream world that Roland has. We have the knife.
Mm-hmm.
So once this whole thing is assembled, and we understand it more with the scrolls, then we could destroy it. But yes, the right arm and the head are still missing.
Yeah.
And I think the majority of the scrolls we have not yet read.
No,
Yes,
we've
we only have the
found-
scroll of the head.
Yeah.
And Professor Smythe believed there was 5 scrolls.
Yeah, there's the scroll of the body, legs, left hand, right hand that are still missing.
Yeah, you found no clear clue where any of those might be.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you probably think they could be in the back room of any museum across Europe.
Did we fully translate the scroll we do have?
Of the head?
I think that what was his name? The ghost guy from not from Trieste, from Lausanne. He had it
Lausanne.
translated.
Yeah, we had the translation of it, and it's a
Insane.
horrific document.
Yeah.
You know, it was not encouraging in its own right.
It suggested that there were rites and rituals of torture and bloodletting and all sorts of things to appease the simulacrum. It wasn't clear what you got out of doing that.
Yeah.
Good.
Now, about your injuries, Bloch.
Yes.
I assume the medical services on the Orient Express are very good, even after they've had difficulties, but they don't have the capacities that the artifact we have retrieved has. But I agree that there's a degree of experimentation involved. So maybe we see how you heal, and if it persists in troubling you,
Mm-hmm.
we shall investigate further.
Perhaps we could do a simple experiment where we just do a minor cut on a finger and try it there before we try an injury so close to my heart.
I admit I have already been very tempted, based on the doctor's experiments, to see what a minor severing would feel like, but
Oh, I just thought maybe a paper cut. We could not sever a finger.
yeah. The paper cut is perhaps too subtle after all. They are unpleasant, but there is often not even blood.
True.
Would you like to proceed? Do you want to move ahead, or do you guys want to continue? Want to do some experiments, or
A little apprehensive to do experiments with such.
I must say, Thursby, I understand your concern, and I've been careful about handling it as well, because as we've seen, there are corrupting influence on these things. But as far as I can tell, it does not seem to be of the same nature of this cursed. It seems to have a different background, if you will. Like the Heartstone, it seems to come from a different tradition or origin. I'm not sure that it is itself in any way corrupt. It seems, in fact, to me very much like a scientific instrument, as the doctor said, but clearly he was experiencing some derangement. So,
Yeah, as wonderful as the promises of all of this dark magic has, I'm very apprehensive about going down any path that would embrace any of it. For not knowing how the corruption will manifest, we may not be aware of it manifesting within ourselves until it is too late, or until it is too obvious for others to see. I'm just putting it out there that this. I don't know if we should rush into this. If we have no other choice, then perhaps. But
I appreciate that being conservative seems reasonable. I don't suspect, again, that this is dark magic or magic at all. Although what else it would be is unclear. How is your pain, Gunter?
As long as I don't lay on that side, I'm able to sleep, but not a deep sleep. My left hip is constantly hurting from unfortunately the same location that I hit the poor clock keepers with the leg. And I mean, obviously my shoulder is hurting. Thursby had to dig a bullet out of it.
You can make a nice necklace out of it if you like.
That poor clock keeper. I still keep thinking about him every.
Yeah. The most unfortunate incident. So, what reminds me what we know about Belgrade. We have a name from Smythe to visit. We assume it's not another tomb. He probably only tries that joke once.
Yeah. Doctor, pull up my note here. Dr. Milovan Todorovic, it says he's the curator of the National Museum. That seems to bode a little bit better than just look for a person. So.
And that's off of the advice, the tip of
Professor Smythe.
Professor Smythe.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
I wonder what this knife could do for the scars he was given. The creatures that were operated on were very neat work.
I bet you this knife will be instrumental in the destruction of the Simulacrum.
I think that is its primary purpose, yeah. And I doubt we shall be able to take it back with us afterwards. It probably does not belong in human hands.
Okay, if we've reached that point, we can say that your train starts to come into Belgrade. Belgrade is on the River Sava. It has been described as the most destroyed city in war of all time. The Turkish word for it is the House of Wars, or the City of Wars. Nevertheless, as you're pulling into it, it's actually quite a beautiful city. Lots of old European buildings, cathedral that was damaged but has been repaired. It's quite a beautiful thing, sitting there on the on the edge of the Sava River. Of course, it was damaged during World War One, the Great War, but it seems to have recovered pretty well. It's 9 o'clock as the train pulls into the station, and the platform is a bustle with lots and lots of people going here and there. You're not the only train that's pulling in about that time. There are other commuter trains and things like that are pulling in. The platform is just filled with people of all sorts of international qualities. And we'll assume at this moment you are getting off the train. Have you decided where you would like to stay? Or you're kind of off schedule at the moment, arriving?
There's the Hotel Europa.
Europa?
The Hotel Moskva.
Moskva.
Or Petrograd.
Mm-hmm. Well, the least
they're all fairly close to the station.
Are they
Moskva and
a half mile?
I'd recommend one of the more attended ones, not one of the out of the way ones, simply because of our luggage, our very important pieces we need to keep tabs on. I would not feel safe with rickety.
The Europa is the nicest of the hotels, I think. So
yeah, and I like that the Europa is the closest of the 3 hotels in the travel brochure to. It's the closest one to the museum, which is our first place we want to look.
And I understand it also has a very nice indoor heated swimming pool as well.
I thought you were hot enough. I thought you were hot all the time there, Thursby. You want to?
Could be good for your leg, though, Bloch. And I sort of like the fact that it suggests a more Western European approach than the Moscow or Petrograd. So let's start there.
All right.
Yes.
Sounds like a plan.
As you disembark, you tell the stewards where you want your stuff delivered, which they do for you, fully secure. As you get off, you step onto the platform, and it's just crowds and crowds and crowds of people. And as you're walking along, there are lots of children. They're not, they're locals. They look like they're a bit on the, like halfway between regular children and street urchins. They move forward. They start to crowd around you. They're speaking in Serbo-Croatian. You have no idea what they're saying, but they're obviously begging for money, wanting your change, giving you quite a bit of hassle in the process. You also realize that pickpockets are a problem, so watch out. You can do spot hidden rolls to see if you get tricked.
Here we go. Let's see how keen my eyes are today.
Regular success.
Regular success.
Can we verify, or can anyone verify that it is Sunday, the 28th of January in 1923?
It is Sunday the 28th.
In which case, did you guys do your refresh rolls? Did we do those at the end of the last?
We did those.
We got a lot of, yeah. Okay. Did any of you fail that spot hidden?
I did.
Okay. 65 out of 55.
I got a 92.
Gee.
Oof. Okay.
Off to a good start.
So as you guys are bustling through this, Theodore, you manage to feel a little hand go into one of your pockets. But you can't exactly swing because there's so many people around you. Dr. Neruda, you don't. But all of a sudden, in the crowd, there is a young man. Looks like he's maybe 14. He is well dressed, and like lightning, his hand comes down and snatches the arm of the child who has got his hand in your pocket, Theodore, and he snatches the other arm, and he says, "Hey, you, no stealing," like this, and he makes them drop whatever's in their hand, which might just be some pocket change. And he says, "Get out of here," and they run. He is speaking English, but he's obviously from a local, and he says, "Gentlemen, you need to be much more careful. These children are thieves."
Thank you for your assistance.
Can I help you with anything? I speak 4 languages.
Oh, Thurston or Theodore Thursby at your service. It's a pleasure. And you might be?
He says, "My name is Dushan."
Dushan, a pleasure to meet you.
He says, "Do you have baggage? Do you need help?" He's obviously also, he's not a thief, but he's obviously looking to, act like a porter, help you find your way in this crowd. Is how he makes his money. Do you have a place where you're staying? Do you have, do you need any assistance?
Well, I believe the staff of the Express is handling most of our luggage, but if you could direct us to the Hotel Europa.
The Hotel Europa. I suppose that's a good enough hotel. If you wanted my recommendation, I'd say the Moskva. But if the Europa is already chosen, then yes, I can take you there. I can show you along the way.
Why would you recommend?
What is your name again?
Doshan.
Doshan.
Why would you recommend the other place, Doshan?
Well, I can get you a deal there. Get you a lower price. But Europa's okay.
Okay, thank you.
In general, I like to arrive at the hotel where my luggage is rather than one that an Artful Dodger recommends. But yes.
Well, if you change your mind, I could arrange to have your luggage moved for you.
How old does this fellow seem?
About 14.
14. Yeah.
He also seems to be making at least a little money because his clothes are pretty nice. He's in a little suit.
Well, we may have need of your services if we might hire you on as a guide, if you would not.
How far away have you come from? Are you staying long? Would you like a tour of the city? Would you like me to show you the good places to eat? Do you like to go shopping? I know where the Turkish bazaar is, all of the shopping. It's very nice. I can get you the best deals at some of the booths there. This is the kind of stuff that he's talking to you about as he's very eagerly escorting you to the Europa.
Yes, maybe we will discuss things like that, but we all, well, I speak for myself and hopefully the rest, that we would like to settle first, my friend. But we would definitely, if we need a guide, we would definitely use you. You have been very kind to us.
There are many beautiful places I can take and show you the castle and the main places, the churches and the Garden of Dreaming, and he goes on and on about very interesting things.
Do you know where the best rate in town is to exchange currency?
Oh! I can do that for you. If we head over here, we use dinar as our currency. 25 dinar to the English silver. What's it called? Silver pound.
Pound sterling.
Pound sterling. Yes. Do you want to do that now? I can take you.
I would be pretty versed in money exchanges because that's sort of what a lot of my family does and keeps on top of it. Is that a pretty ridiculous rate, or?
Well, it changes all the time, but in this case, that sounds about right. And of course, he tells you, but this is just like in a European city. If you want to use pound sterling, they'll take that.
Yeah.
Doshan, I know a little bit about history and especially in Europe and that, but I've never heard of the Garden of Dreaming. Did you say Garden of Dreaming?
That's a very important place. That's at the Kalemegdan Fortress and Gardens. There is a hillside. It's very beautiful, and people say that it's a place where you can dream very vividly if you take a nap there.
Huh. I'd never heard of it before, and I've heard of many big places in cities, so I never heard of it.
Well, I'm glad to show you. Yes,
we will have
if
to.
You're here for some days. We can travel all around. I know Belgrade like the back of my hand. Lived here my whole life.
Yes. Once he get, I'll tip him, but it's more of I probably give him a little bit more than I probably should, but just to keep him zipped for a little while because he's
Excellent idea.
chatting too much.
Keep him on retainer.
He actually, in the middle of the conversation with you, Dorian, he suddenly switches to Polish because he says that he recognizes your accent, and he does know a bit of Polish.
Yeah, that is. Well, your accent is nearly there. How long have
I
you
keep
known
working
Polish
on
for?
it.
Do you know Attica? Do you know Italian at all?
My Italian's not so good. They say that my pronunciation was horrible.
It is all about
but I've got
pronunciation.
French and German and Serbo-Croatian.
Yeah, and obviously Polish. Keep working on it. Polish is about pronunciation. Most languages are about pronunciation.
Here is the Europa up here on the hill. See, we're coming up to it now. And in at the same time, you can see that the staff of the Orient Express are unloading your luggage. And he says, "Oh, you've brought a lot of stuff with you. Is this a vacation across Europe? You're on the Orient Express?
Yes.
I can show you all the best places to go shopping if you're looking for interesting things. Not those silly souvenirs that people buy.
Doshan. We definitely want to experience Belgrade while we're here, but we would like to settle down. Here is a little bit of money for you and a bit extra.
Thank you so much. Now, if you want to arrange something, I can be back anytime you want. My regular fee is £1 a day.
I'm sure we will, after we find our own way around a bit, wish to see some of the things you know. Perhaps you will come ask for Mr. Dabrowski for lunch tomorrow.
Yes.
And then maybe
Excellent.
If we haven't found something else, this Garden of Dreaming seems like a place that, given our travels so far, would be worth our attention.
Yes.
Excellent. As you wish. I will give you the best tour and the best places to eat for lunch. What kind of food do you like? Do you want to taste our local cuisine?
Yes, and yes.
He rattles off a number of restaurant names.
When Dorian gives Doshan a little sort of retainer fee, what's Doshan's reaction? Does he seem like, oh, that's nice, or did he seem significant?
He doesn't actually look at the money that you give him. It's almost as if that would be very impolite. He takes it, thanks you, and puts it in his pocket without even looking at it.
And I gave him extra, just to clarify.
He'll look at it later.
Okay, good call. Good.
There we go.
So he takes you to the hotel. Hotel Europa is very well appointed, beautiful hotel on the inside. The service is excellent. Europa has a cafe and a restaurant attached. They're very warm, very inviting. You can see other people from the Orient Express that are staying here. And it's nice to step into the area that's less bustly than the streets outside. But this is a live city, and the weather here is much better than some of the places that you've been, especially like Trieste. You're down out of the mountains, and it almost has a slightly springish feel to it. It's still chilly, but it's getting green. You can see little wildflowers here and there in gardens popping up. Grape hyacinth and snowdrops and things like that.
So warm.
All right, so you step inside. The concierge sets everything up. You are given. What do you want? Do you want 5 rooms, or do you want to bunk together at all?
Oh, Doctor.
I wonder if it would not be wise for us to at least share suites so that no one is too far away in the night should there be trouble, as increasingly we have a lot of valuable objects to keep an eye on.
Agreed.
If we could get 2 adjoined rooms and 3 other adjoined rooms, then we could.
Well, I don't mind sharing with Theodore. I don't mind. Keep it.
Pleasure.
Let's say they can give you 2 very nice suites that are adjoined, that each have 2 bedrooms in them.
Perfect.
And the beds are big, so
Excellent.
because you're used to sharing. They're very nice. They have balconies overlooking the street outside. And the smell is very nice, very pleasant. You can smell the restaurant downstairs. It smells wonderful. And you guys settle in. Where do you want to put your special trunks?
Maybe the central room?
Herr Bloch, I cannot hear you.
Sorry. Maybe are the beds high enough that we could fit the trunk underneath it? Or
Oh, no.
No. Okay.
Your trunks are about 3 feet or 2.5 feet high. They're trunks. They're traveling trunks. Yeah.
When I'm out of the room, I'm going to store it in the closet. When I'm in the room, I'll store it on the bed with me.
Okay.
Probably not built-in closets, but probably
Wardrobes.
cabinet-style wardrobes.
Oh, yeah, wardrobes.
Okay.
If they have keys that come with them, then it's a modicum of security. The place looks like a very respectable establishment, I assume, where we would be surprised if there was any meaningful risk of normal thievery. But of course, every time we enter a new city, we need to look in the nearest directory for Skinless Ones Incorporated or Fleshless Brethren or something.
Butcher shops.
Yeah, or just visit the butcher shops with Herr Bloch and have him insult people, which worked out very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we divide up I'm lucky in that the pieces that I'm carrying are easily slipped into coat pockets. But for the larger pieces, I think maybe we store 2 in each of the suites and we make sure we lock them up, throw some of that extra bedding from the foot of the bed over them and put a hat on top, that sort of thing. Just not draw attention. I mean, you can't watch them all the time.
Yeah.
And we ask the concierge maybe we have lunch, and then we ask the concierge whether this the museum, is it museum?
Yep. Yeah, the National Museum.
If this is the sort of place that's open on a Sunday, or we have to wait until tomorrow.
It's a good question, but I'm going to say that since a lot of people are not working on Saturdays and Sundays, then the museum's probably open because people would like to wander around the museum. So we'll say that it is open.
All right.
It's open until let's see, 5 o'clock, like in the U.S. it would be.
Yeah, so we put our things away, we refresh our clothes, we look for trapdoors, hidden peepholes. We have lunch, and then we visit the museum and find our Zadorovich.
Yeah, maybe, and secure those chests with the pieces of the simulacron. Do we have like a way to chain it down to, like, so you just can't come in and take the case and walk out with it? Like I'm sure there must be some like little ring loops on it, so we could just sort of kind of run a couple through there and tie it around
Well, I wonder also if the hotel has a storage area for guests where it keeps things that are valuable under lock and key. I don't know if we want to attract the attention.
Yeah,
It almost for sure would have a safe, a large safe for people who bring valuable jewelry and stuff like that. But you don't think it would be big enough to put a trunk in.
Yeah. I liked your idea, Dr. Kerr. So just putting it at the foot of the bed, not draw attention to it. I mean, people have their trunks.
Yeah.
In the rooms. I mean,
but Theodore, if you could come up with something that would work, I mean, you can always. Didn't you guys purchase chains at one point?
Yeah, the little chains. Yeah, not like
big. In Milan. So you could theoretically chain it to the bed.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Just so it's very difficult to just take out. But don't make it overly obvious. Just like if there's a couple ring loops on the chests, just sort of chain it through, attach it.
There have to be those large handles on the chests for the stevedores to carry them around.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't necessarily keep them from opening the chest and taking what's inside.
Well, but the chests themselves are locked. My goal is just so they come into the room and instead of opening it, okay, they can't open it easily, so they'll just walk out with it. Okay. So this is making it so they can't easily walk out with it. So it would detain them for quite a while in the room, giving us an edge. That's
okay.
And there's no paranoia sitting in whatsoever.
None whatsoever.
We are rational.
If we start getting strings and empty tin cans, we can tape them to the windows and the doors so we hear
Teller
people rattling around.
Bouncy
flour all over the floor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wait, you already did that at one hotel, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Yeah. So.
All right. Okay.
When I'm changing shirts, I'm going to look at my bullet wound, make sure it's not getting infected and, not getting red around it.
Do a luck roll for me.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, 0-5 pass.
Okay. It's not good. It's just been a day, so it's still a wound, but it's not getting infected.
Yeah. And it's not getting warmer as if you have an infection in there.
Are you changing the bandage or are you just looking and then
I'm going to change the bandage. I fought in the Great War. I have some experience with it. Yeah.
So I kind of assume that you have a pad there and then you have gauze maybe wrapped around to hold it on.
Yeah.
And I've got really good first aid. I can help, make sure where you can't reach, it's all properly secured and clean and attached.
Yeah.
All right. So you have a very nice lunch.
Is there an English paper or a German paper that we can see if there's anything kind of flip through there?
Yes, you can read there. Various things going on in Europe, things about Mussolini back in Italy, various other things. Nothing stands out. Yeah. There's no violent murders or anything like that.
Right.
And in general, you've become sensitive to the environment around you as you've traveled through these areas. And Belgrade, at least right now, right here on a nice clear day with a light breeze and the sun shining, it feels more normal than any of the other places you've been. There doesn't seem to be this blanket of gloom that's hanging over everything, which seems to be where the other places you've been. It seems bright. People are laughing. People are walking about. People are walking hand in hand on the street. People are enjoying food. People are laughing and carrying on.
I quite enjoy it. It gives me maybe hope for the world's future. Maybe the next couple decades of Europe will be happy and bright.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, Mussolini can't last forever.
No, he's a buffoon.
Yeah, and
Soon they will recognize that he's corrupt.
Yeah, no one worse than him could come along.
No.
Should we go check if Professor Smythe has telegrammed us?
Yeah, the post restant. I wonder if this is this a telegraph office is 7 days, not 5 days, like the regular post.
Yeah, it's usually almost instantaneous. If he sends
Is
a
it open
message
on
from
Sundays?
Oh, is it open on Sundays? No, it's probably not.
Okay,
Post
so
office wouldn't be.
we'll need to remember to go check that. I'm starting to lose hope that we're going to get any telegrams from him. We haven't heard from him in a while, but I thought we might check anyway. He knew we would be coming to the city.
Yeah, every time we arrive in a new place. Also, though, with the explosion and things, there might be interruptions to telegram lines also, or he might expect that we are a few days behind where we are. It would be good to hear from him.
So after you finish your lunch, pretty much anyone can give you directions on how to get there. You also have the map. I don't know if it's on the map or not.
It is.
All right. So you make your way to the Narodni Muzej, which is the National Museum of Serbia. It is an impressive neo-Gothic edifice. And once you're inside, there are, sort of donations for the upkeep of the museum. You're actually surprised that it has a collection of art and sculpture and Byzantine gold to rival the Louvre in Paris. And as you're looking around, the stuff's even in better condition than the stuff at the Louvre. The statues are more put together, less damage to them. The marble's beautiful. You're extremely impressed. So what are you going to do as you walk around?
I mean, when we come in, I'd ask if the curator was around. That's what he was, right? The Dr. Todorovic. He's the curator of the museum. Yep.
Well, the curator is always very busy. Do you have an appointment? Do you what reason would you have to see the curator?
We are academics working with a English professor who is a friend of his, and he recommended that we talk to Dr. Todorovic. Todorovic, thank you. Still getting the pronunciations down. To assist us with our research that we're working on. This here is Dr. Kurz and Dr. Neruda, both very established doctors in their fields of study, and
wait here, and I'll return to this room. I will go see what I can do if he's available. And the guy leaves. Looking around some more, there are some exquisite examples of prehistoric sculpture. There's Greek, there's Hellenistic, there's Roman, and there's Byzantine stuff. It's really impressive. After 15 minutes or so, the man returns and he says, I can take you to Dr. Milovan. He's currently quite busy, but you say you are a friend of a friend, so I'll take you there.
Huh,
He takes you. He takes you down a corridor, around a corner, down some stairs, heading towards the back of the museum. There are large windows that let in a lot of light, and eventually you are shown through a door. The room is very large. There is a desk, and there are a number of bookcases to one side. But what's really lovely is there are some very large windows, and there is a very large statue, which a man is partly on a scaffolding, and he is working meticulously on the statue. Looks like he's restoring it at the moment. And as the man shows you into the room, he just points at the man who's working. He says, Dr. Todorovich, these are the people I was telling you about. He doesn't look down. He's just like, yes, just a moment. He's working on this. Any one of you who has some archaeology or art, you can see the statue that he's working on. I want to see if you can, you can roll it to see if you can identify the statue.
So close. Let's just miss by a few.
Do you want to spend some luck?
I will not spend 72 down to 45.
So what was we rolling if we were?
Archaeology or
art.
Appropriate art. Yeah.
Well, archaeology is my
Yeah.
I will spend the 5 luck to pass because I have 70. I rolled a 75, so I spent the 5 luck to pass.
Okay. The statue that he's working on is this. And it is in absolutely exquisite condition. The particular form it's Venus, but it is called the Capitoline Venus, which means the Venus of modesty, because she's covering herself up. It's quite beautiful. The restoration of it is exquisite. The marble almost glows with life. It looks like a person standing there covered in fine white powder. And he says, you're also guessing maybe 4th century BC.
Wow.
So as he stops, he says, well then, he turns around and he looks down and he says, oh, there's 5 of you. What was this about again? And he moves over and starts climbing down from the scaffolding.
We were advised that we should speak to you by Julian Smythe in London.
Oh, yes, Julian, yes.
Yeah. He was concerned with some artifacts associated with ancient Turkey that have been dispersed by commerce and looting over the centuries. Do you have any idea what we refer to?
Not particularly, but I just read in the paper maybe a week or 2 ago about a fire. Is he all right?
Yes, he is all right.
Well, that's good. That's good.
I want to
Yes, we had
psychology.
Good call.
Okay. Psychology.
I just want to see if he's probing for information for nefarious purposes or if he's genuinely concerned about his friend. 19 is a pass.
Okay. You think that he does look genuinely concerned, but he doesn't necessarily look at the 5 of you with any particular trust at the moment. He doesn't know who you are, and name dropping doesn't impress him.
Are we alone with him?
Yes.
The matter of our academic inquiry involves a very obscure religious group that has its origins in the ancient Near East.
Oh, well, I would say he looks like he's about 48. Well, I'm not sure what I could do to help you on that. I'm an expert in classical and Byzantine statuary.
Well, this is well, then you might be quite interested. The matter of our inquiry involves a religious artifact, in fact, a statue that was believed to have originated in Constantinople. And we have documents placing it in the city, both at the time of the Byzantine Empire, or in the environs of the city within the Byzantine Empire, and later during the Crusades.
In this city?
In Constantinople.
In Constantinople. Well, there's lots of statuary.
Are you aware of the name Sedefkar?
Means nothing to me. Is he the artist? He
is the one who's believed to have created the statue, yes.
Oh, it doesn't sound familiar to me at all. It sounds that's Turkish.
Yes.
The name. When did he build this? The statue, do you know the time?
This is part of what we're trying to solidify, because you see there's some arguments in the academic literature about the precise origin of the statue in question. Some people believe that Sedefkar himself sculpted it, but some believe that he got it from an older artist. But it was around in great religious significance and was present in the Byzantine Empire.
I'm afraid
we've come to consult you.
I'm afraid going on that there's any of 100,000 statues that could refer to.
This particular statue is not of any Greco-Roman or Abrahamic religiosity. This is a very obscure and old religious group. They worship some entity called the Skinless One.
While Dr. Neruda is speaking of this as these words are coming out, I'm going to go to the door that we came in through and just sort of check to make sure no one's eavesdropping on this.
Okay. There's nobody out there.
Yeah. I'll stay there though. Okay. I want privacy.
Yeah.
Do you have any? What we would really like is to get to the point. Again, this is rather obscure matter, but we would like to do some examinations of your collection of Byzantine statuary to see if we can find any.
You're most welcome to. It is a museum.
The statue that we're looking for, it was purposely broken up into parts, so we're actually only looking for a small part of the statue, either an arm or the head, and it tends to look almost porcelain instead of marble, which makes it quite unique, actually.
And you're here on behalf of Professor Smythe?
Yes.
Indeed. Yeah.
Are you affiliated with any other museums?
Just the one in Arkham, the Miskatonic Museum.
The university?
Yes, yep. Miskatonic University.
Gentlemen, I'm not exactly sure what you're asking me. if I knew of such a thing, you wouldn't be able to purchase it or remove it from any collection that's here. After World War One, Belgrade put a big lockdown on any artifacts being removed from the country. They stole so much. You would have to get a pretty solid permit from the government to acquire even if you attempted to purchase such a thing here, they wouldn't let it out of the country unless you had proper papers.
Well, we're here to examine and research. We're not necessarily here to assemble or collect.
Well, you're certainly welcome to look about, and if you, I don't know what you're hoping for. You can tell he seems very suspicious of you.
Mm-hmm.
Not like he's a cultist, but like you might be from a rival museum, or you might be a collector and you're trying to steal stuff from his country, and he doesn't trust you. You want to do anything to alleviate his distrust? I mean, I don't even know what your credentials actually are. You can fake credentials.
Hey, Dorian, our resident archaeologist.
Yes.
Oh, you know what? I could back you up, Dorian, because my family, the Thursbys, are great patrons of research and universities. So this might be a good combination.
The Thursby family will make a massive donation to the museum.
Yeah.
I will actually
as that could be read as a bribe, but
I will just start talking random archaeology nonsense to him, just to kind of I'll get him onto a broad topic, and then I will to kind of start.
Well, you can do a persuade roll. I mean, let's say you're talking about the statue that he's working on, and you seem to show your expertise as to what that might be.
Okay.
That will.
Well, I just barely succeeded my persuade roll. So.
Okay. I mean, he seems to soften a bit. Any of other connections with archaeology or?
I'll then link it into Miskatonic University, and I will mention Theodore Thursby's family and how they have helped.
Well,
I will lie.
And I'm friends with Yasmina and what was her last name?
Morik.
Yes.
Morich.
And
Dragomir.
her father, Dr. Morik.
Who was recently involved in a scandal of people worried that they're going to smuggle stuff out of the country.
That though will get you a big persuade roll if
Okay.
you talk about Yasmina, because he knows them.
I will back.
He doesn't
I
know
will
Dragomir's
back.
dead. But.
I will back you. You can. I will assist.
Okay. I'll talk about how Yasmina thought I was very heroic and quite a
because I sort of do know Dragomir. So.
Yeah, you did. You do know Dragomir.
I do know Dragomir. I do know Dragomir.
So with that, he softens up quite a bit. He becomes more or less convinced of your academic, that you are academics, not fakes. However, he tells you that the museum has acquired some beautiful pieces over the years. You're welcome to look through his collection, including the stuff in the back rooms. Do you describe, you said porcelain.
Porcelain like, but not, not an expert on what it is.
I'm not exactly sure what you are describing. Do you said it's part of pieces from an original statue. Do you have photographs of the original statue? Do you have something to give me a little more?
I could get you photographs of it. I don't have them on me.
I understand.
We from what our research has told us, when it was removed prior to history, it was the statue itself was broken apart during the French Revolution, and was scattered during the Napoleonic.
Well, we understand how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants a piece of history, and they scatter things to the wind.
So if you have records of when things were acquired, that could give us a good place to start, if anything.
Oh yes, we have
the museum.
Complete records. Complete records of everything is cataloged. There are a number of other people that I might be able to point you in the direction that are also experts. We have some of our finest pieces, which I'd be glad to show you. You see, this area of the world was originally settled by the Celts, and then later the Romans took over the area. There are so many pieces of statuary and temples and things like that, some of them completely obscure out in the woods, hidden away, that continually become a source of beautiful archaeological pieces. People plow their fields and suddenly run across a statue. Happens all the time. I have a supplier. He's a ways out there, but I'm not exactly sure that he's the actual supplier, but he's my intermediary. Might be able to provide you with a good deal of information on pieces that go through the city. However, I have to act as a professional, and despite that you've somewhat convinced me of who you are and who you are affiliated with, and I have deep respect for Professor Julius Smythe. I need you to get permits. You'll have to go to the Bureau of National Treasures. You'll have to get signed and documentation showing that you're not just that you have permission. In which case that'll open me up for you. But I can't just willy-nilly, give you things or let you do things. I can let you see what we have. But
I'm fairly certain, Professor Torovich, if you had seen a piece of this particular artifact, it would be memorable to you. The finish is very unusual. We're not entirely sure how it's composed. Even though the limbs are severed from each other, they are very cleanly severed, not as broken off as is common when statues are damaged over periods of great history.
Yes, uniquely patterned.
It sounds fascinating.
Yes.
And I would very much like to help you, but
I don't believe we will be happy to provide to go through your local channels and also provide you with some photographs of what we have seen, although I do not know that photographs would be sufficient to explain to you the uniqueness of the character. However, I'm certain with a man with your eye working on a restoration as magnificent as this would not have seen this object and not recognized it for something unusual. So I am assuming that it's not in your holdings. This supplier you mentioned, we should speak to the Bureau before we speak to the supplier, or maybe make inquiries beforehand, as we are not necessarily, after all, even interested in collecting, but observing these pieces in situ.
I don't want to give out any of that information until I am sure that you have permission.
Understandable. You have to guard your national treasures, as we all do. The world is full of looters and collectors and the like. Well, we
And you seem very, very legitimate. I'm tied. Yes.
Certainly. Yeah, and Mr. Smythe was recently injured. We're not in touch with him at the moment, so we can't ask him to telegraph you in the morning and so on. These things are complex. Our documents are in order, so we should have little trouble with the bureaucracy if your bureaucracy is above board, as I hope it is.
They should be fine. You will have to give them some sort of credentials to prove who you are. But
is there
with
anyone?
any luck,
Yeah, is there someone in the office in particular we can speak to who is more educated?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I imagine it's just a clerk or somebody who runs the office.
Mm-hmm.
That will be it shouldn't be too far from the train station where the bureaucratic offices are.
Okay.
While we are enjoying your historic city, is there anything you recommend in particular? Outside of this museum?
Well, there's the university library, and there's the Belgrade, the National Library of Serbia. Both very fine collections. And he gives you some other, he says you should go see the castle.
Yeah. Kalemegdan, am I saying that correctly?
Kalemegdan, yeah, Kalemegdan Fortress. It's a fortress more than a castle. It's very old, very beautiful. And enjoy the weather. It's very nice lately.
Yeah, we've had some
early
difficult
spring.
winter in our travels, so it is pleasant to come to a place that seems to be a bit on the thaw.
Well, if there's
we've taken
I can help you
enough of the professor's time, I think.
Yep.
You've been very gracious. Hopefully we'll speak soon.
Hopefully so. Yes. And he stands there and watches as you leave. And you imagine that after you've left, he goes right back to the statue and continues working.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to look around the museum?
Yeah, I'd like to. I like to look around, especially like where they would keep kind of the scrolls. Maybe a manuscript from Turkish areas. I doubt we'll find in here, but take a look and see if there's anything there.
How long do you want to look around? You got here a little afternoon.
Yeah, we came directly from lunch, so we might as well.
Yeah, town hall's not going to be open today. It's Sunday, so
yeah, a few hours.
So yeah. You spend until 5 o'clock. And as I say, you're very impressed. The collection is beautiful. A lot of pieces that you've never heard of. They're just like not in the standard, art book that you get from the store. But some examples are better than the ones, like I say, that you've seen at the Louvre.
This is interesting.
All right. And so 5 o'clock rolls around. The museum's closing. You all leave the museum. What would you like to do?
I don't imagine that the nightlife on a Sunday is very hopping.
No, but it's not bad. Restaurants are open. People enjoy the evenings walking about. It's a little chilly. People dress warmly, but after the Bora, it's quite pleasant. Theodore walks around in a bikini.
Yeah.
A very nice bikini.
Yeah, mind taking a stroll. It looks like, according to the map, the fortress, that Kalamegdan fortress, is not too much further from here. Looks like maybe a couple blocks to the park that's around it. Maybe there's a nice little cafe there, and we can kind of see this fortress that everyone
What a
keeps.
splendid idea.
I definitely want to, because that is where the dreaming thing is.
Garden of Dreaming.
Garden of Dreams.
So you stroll over in that direction, and as evening is coming on, they've got it well lit up. I've got daytime pictures, but this is Kalamegdan Castle.
Lovely.
Or Kalamegdan Fortress, up on a hill. There is a beautiful garden, not quite on that level of blooming at the moment, but you do see a lot of people sitting on the grass, eating sandwiches and chatting and walking about on strolls. It seems like quite a pleasant place. The hillock that this garden is on, is called the Hill of Dreaming. And the legend is that people who fall asleep there often seem to transport themselves into another world. Very pleasant place.
Time for a picnic.
Yes, time for a little picnic.
So do we find a little place to get some sandwiches and a cup of some... Excellent.
Some
sandwiches, but no coffee. Bottle of wine, yeah. We have warm coats after all. We've been traveling.
See, when I heard the name of his garden, it seemed so I don't know, we've had our own experiences.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was odd. I hadn't heard of this before, and I've heard of many landmarks.
Gabrielle and I haven't practiced professionally for a few weeks or days.
A few days. It's been a day or two since last we applied our dream lawyering.
Who knows how time works in that different place, but
I think my curiosity gets the better. Is this really a connection?
Oh, the worst that happens, we have a pleasant evening out, which is something that's been few and far between.
Yes, we haven't had many of them. Let's enjoy our sandwiches and our tea.
Well, I'm guessing that despite the fact that it is quite comfortable sitting there and enjoying your food, it is a little chilly. So if you're thinking of trying to fall asleep, that's probably not going to happen. Except Thursby is really comfortable.
That's lovely. I could just stretch out here.
You could have a nice little nap while the rest of us are freezing.
Yeah. I'll finish my salami and mozzarella sandwich.
Of course, all this time I'm as pleasant as the evening is, I am looking around, making sure that there's not anyone paying attention to us.
To you.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like there is. Theodore, do you want to roll I don't know, what would we call it? Constitution roll to see if you fall asleep.
Certainly. And that is a 58 out of a 75. So that is a standard pass.
You want to fall asleep?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Kind of.
The food's good in your belly. You're comfortable. You drift off into sleep. And the rest of you notice that he's snoring a bit. And you guys yourselves can't quite fall asleep, but after 15 minutes, you guys are eating. Suddenly, Theodore opens up his eyes. He's got a big smile on his face, and tells you that Henry's doing pretty good. that somehow he ended up back in Ulthar, and he waited for Henry on the platform, and the Mimi pulled up, and he got off to greet the guests and wouldn't let you on the train, but he was willing to chit chat with you for a bit.
It's true. It's true. This place is some bizarre connection to where we all slumbered off to before.
Oh, so you got to see Henri and Mimi once again.
Yes.
Oh,
It was wonderful, but I'm perplexed as to how does an area channel such a transformation from worlds.
What about there's a statue in the middle of the is there a statue in the middle of the garden?
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of statues around, but
There's
the
got to
picture
be.
I don't know
Given
what it
Tom's
is.
very nonchalant response, I think that is very, very
Right.
important that we analyze
Yes.
every inch of every statue.
That
Next.
third rose from the left is very
Yeah.
red.
Yes, maybe there are some pockets of reality for though that allow us to escape into the dreaming world.
was my my dancing friend there, the beautiful dancer? Was she still? Did you see her?
No, but you did.
Oh.
I mean, there were new guests, and there were cats, and the cats are quite friendly towards all of you. Well, towards you. See,
Yeah.
you were there by yourself.
And I said, meow, meow, meow to them.
Oh, why'd you insult them?
I believe they just can communicate with you in the Dreamlands.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I've been working on my cat, the accents.
Yeah. Oh, well.
All right. So it gets a little chillier. You go home, or you go back to the hotel. Maybe later you have a pleasant dinner, have drinks, and eventually you wind down and go to bed. Nothing eventful happens in the night, unless you guys want to do something in the evening. All of your ailments, especially those associated with Sedevkar, they do seem slowly but surely to be getting worse.
Mm-hmm. That cough. Yeah.
Oh, my leg. I can barely move my leg.
It's starting to become annoying.
So just to bed next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You guys get a fairly good, decent sleep. I would like you to roll your sanity.
Ugh.
No.
Nothing says a good night's sleep like a sanity roll.
Pass.
Ooh,
I
that's
passed
a
it.
I failed.
I'm all right.
hard pass.
So who passed? Everybody except Dorian.
Yes, except
Um,
me.
Okay, those of you who passed, I will give you a 1d6 addition to your sanity.
Ooh, that is a nice
I
sleep.
could have really done with that.
I'll give you 1 point back, Dorian.
I got
Oh, I
1
guess.
point.
Six. I
There we
rolled
go.
well.
Don't
Yeah.
say this out loud, Theodore.
Don't you'll jinx yourself.
So the next morning comes. The breakfast is served. It's delicious. And then what were you going to do this morning? Let's say 9 o'clock before anything starts to open.
How's my shoulder feeling?
It still hurts.
Mm-hmm.
It went through the muscle, so it's pretty sore.
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you're going to check your bandage, do a luck roll.
Yep. Rip it back open, all that walking around and everything. That is a fail.
May I assist, please? Because I've been very conscious of making sure his bandages are, and I'm well adapted to that.
Well, in this case, he's just checking to see how it's doing.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to say that it's a little red this morning. It could be the beginnings of an infection.
Okay. Yeah. Then with that, I will inquire with Thursby about how my if he would like to take a look at it. I know.
Sure. Yeah.
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 It's hard to tell. Usually when you've got a wound like that, you do experience a bit of necrosis where the damaged skin begins to die, and that's what leaves the scar. In this case, you don't see any like radial red coming out of it like tetanus or anything, but be careful.
Yeah, maybe.
If it gets any worse.
Yeah. Is it really hot? If we applied touch around it?
That's pretty sensitive,
really,
Gunter.
Really warm.
It feels warm.
Don't push so hard on it. Oh.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. We need to keep a sharp eye on this. And if this doesn't get there in a day or so, then we may have to get you to the hospital. Let's get some penicillin.
The hospital. Yeah.
Do we do penicillin yet? That's interesting.
I don't think it was.
We don't have antibiotics yet.
Dirty, rotten 1923.
Dirty, rotten.
Best things that were available at this point were also just poisons.
We kill
arsenic,
everything.
Yeah.
Mercurochrome.
If you kill the infection,
kill the host, you kill the infection.
That's right. Scorched earth.
All right. So what's your first stop today?
We think we did the standard test. We checked for a newspaper, and we checked the telegram.
All right. There is no telegram. You don't see anything interesting in the newspaper. You feel a little heartened. Maybe you found a city that's not infected with the skinless one people.
Yeah.
Do we though? Or do we feel extra suspicious because things seem so pleasant here and orderly?
You do occasionally see somebody in a fez, but that's still a fashion thing.
We are in the east. I told that wretched lad to come and take us to the castle after lunch, or take us to lunch and at the castle, but we don't have to wait. I guess some of us could go and deal with bureaucracy to make the professor happy. I guess Thursby with his money and Dobrovsky with his credentials.
Yes, I better go because I am the archaeologist, and it makes more sense for them to give me the permits over.
Yeah, probably not to me.
Okay. So you head on over to the area where there are government buildings. Do either one of you speak Serbo-Croatian or Slovene?
No.
French.
Got Albanian, Russian,
Arabic, Italian, Polish, and then English.
French, Italian,
English. German? No German?
No, I am.
All right.
I'm Polish.
Well, it's those two went, right? The rest of you didn't go.
Yeah, me and Theodore went.
All right. So what ends up happening is you keep talking to these people. They either don't understand what you're saying or they don't want to understand what you're saying. And you start to get the runaround. You go to this building, to that window, you talk to those people, they give you the runaround. trying to find this place becomes a nightmare. You can both do luck rolls.
Oh God, this is also my worst.
20. Oh, I nailed it. 20. I
Okay.
big time.
I'm glad you did,
hard
because
pass.
I did not.
Okay. So it's going to take you about 3 hours before you finally track down the building that you need to be in. As it turns out, the Bureau of National Treasures is a small office at the end of a long corridor, down steps that appear to lead to the building's furnace room. The office has a single occupant, a young undersecretary. Looks like he's maybe in his early 20s. But what? Go ahead.
With such a good luck roll, could I also have the brilliant idea of calling back to our hotel and asking for someone with a couple more languages under their belt to meet us at this lovely address?
Sure.
Someone who speaks German, probably not Gunter.
Well, let's
please.
Let's combine that with a luck roll to see if Kurz, Block, and Aruda actually stayed in the room and didn't decide to wander around. So why not one of you guys run your luck?
97.
It's a beautiful spring day, don't you think? Let's go for a promenade.
Yeah.
So it rings and rings, but there's no answer.
Theodore, maybe this person will speak a little Polish and we might get somewhere.
Yeah. Only it brought Dushan.
Well, he actually speaks limited English. His name tag is Velya Radi, but the one thing that disconcerts you when you look at him is he seems to have a red birthmark that comes and splits his face almost in half. This skin looking quite a bit different than this skin on this side.
We can't judge a book by its cover, but as I say in my head, I'm saying.
Now, that being said, he seems to be quite pleasant. He doesn't get very many visitors. Reminds you of other officials that you've had to deal with over the course of this adventure.
Yes.
Seems a little over talkative, though his English is not very good. He speaks a little Polish. What can I do for you, gentlemen? What do you need?
We would like some official documents for the museum. We are archaeologists from Miskatonic University. We are working. Well, I am. This is my colleague. We are working with a man called Julius Smythe, and we would like to get access to some of the more off-limit bits in the museum, and we were told we needed the right permits, and that is what I am here for.
Do you have documentation proving any of this?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Do a persuade roll.
Let's go. I will spend 1 point of luck to succeed that. I'm slowly running out of luck, but it's fine.
He looks this over. He does some checking, and then he comes back to you and he says, "Well, yes, it should be quite simple. The cost is £15, and I can get this paperwork processed for you. It might take a day to get this to you.
Okay,
but you can pick it up tomorrow. Let's say around noon. I'll have it all ready for you.
Okay, thank you.
Takes your payment.
What is your name, sir? Just so.
His name is Velya Radi. VLEJA Radi, A-R. I'm sorry, R-A-D-I, Radi.
I don't, I don't know. I don't know how. I want to try and communicate to Thursby to see if he can use his medical knowledge on the scar on his face, because I'm just intrigued if it's a birthmark or an actual scar, or. But I don't have the medical knowledge to really, and I don't think I could discreetly get Theodore to check.
I don't have medical. I've got first aid, so I'm great at patching things up, but I don't think I have really any knowledge.
My field is either archaeology or the mind, so that does not help. But.
Well, I guess you could do a spot hidden. I'd need like not an extreme, a hard.
This is the best roll.
I need an extreme for you to pass that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's extreme.
I'm glad I didn't roll.
It's not unlike birthmarks that you've seen before.
Okay.
It's not attractive. It's dark, but it's not like a scar or you're pretty sure that's his skin.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Just unfortunate.
Yeah.
Somewhat unfortunate.
Could I do could I do a psychology? Could I do a psychology roll throughout our entire conversation just to see what kind of. Okay, 37 out of 68. Success.
It seems pretty normal. You do. He does chit chat a lot. You do get the impression that he's mentioned things. He asks you, of course, little chit-chatty things, where are you from and all of that. But at the same time, he seems to throw in a lot of stuff about the destitute village that he comes from and all of that, as if he's asking if you... But you do have legitimate credentials, so he has to give you what you want anyway.
I might slip him a tip anyway, just for. I'm a generous.
That's person. Very nice. Anyways, they'll be ready for you tomorrow. And meanwhile, since it's getting closer to lunch, you're probably going to want to go and meet Doshan.
Which would have been useful to have him then.
Yeah.
All right. So lunch rolls around and Doshan shows up at the Europa. And he picks you up and he takes you, he's not picking you up, your guys are walking. But he takes you first to a very nice little restaurant. And then you've already told him that you've already gone to Kalamegdan thing. Is there any place else you'd like to see? You mentioned yesterday that you like to go shopping. Would you like to go to the bazaar?
Oh, yeah. You can find all kinds of unique things at a bazaar.
All kinds of things. We have a lot of culture here that all comes together at the bazaar. You can what sort of things do you like? Clothing, object art,
art.
Have your fortunes told. You could.
No.
There's a large population of Chigani. I think you say you're Romani
or Gypsy, yeah.
Gypsy.
Wandering people, yeah.
Yeah, they don't wander so much around here. They stay put, but they wander a bit. You have to be careful because there's pickpockets. So put your money in your front pocket and keep your hand in your front pocket.
Well, when you are with us, we know that you have eyes on all the little stealing urchins.
They're not all small. Sometimes they will distract you. One person will distract you while the other one slips his hand into your pocket. There's even a case where I've seen a woman throw her baby into the air, expecting you to catch it, so that while the other man takes your money out of your back pocket.
So
they're quite ruthless.
So, Shant, I say when you first came up, I wondered whether you were the master of the pickpockets who came to get our trust.
Yes, I have a whole tribe of little evil demons that run around and provide me with loot. Yes, that's very funny.
You take the big pot and distribute it amongst your little gangster friends. When the rich meet the poor, there are always tricks to separate the rich from the money.
What sort of things do you like to shop for?
Clothes.
Yeah, arts.
Yes. Art.
Books.
Books. Yes, most of the books, though, won't be in English. They will be in...
That's okay.
We are an international group. We study different languages, among other things. Yeah, I would like to see the bazaar that has the most unusual pieces in it. Not so much yesterday's cutlery and bits of coins and boxes, but...
Yes, there are... This is a very rich place in heritage. There are many things. You can find, pots and things that aren't the average thing that you would find in a bazaar, but real antiquities, things like that. You can sometimes find those. Even statues, if you have a big house and want statues, and we can find all of that. We'll have fun.
Yes.
And so you go to the bazaar. It's in the Turkish quarter of the city. It's along the outside of the walls of the citadel. It's crowded. It's pungent. It's raucous. It's a hive of commerce, gossip, and crime. There are hundreds of permanent covered stalls, and thousands of people wander between them, pushing, yelling, cajoling, laughing, pounding, weighing, and absently scratching themselves. You can smell perfumes, fruit, herbs, meat, spice, tobacco, motor oil, and horse manure throughout everywhere in the place. And as you're going along, he takes you to certain things based on your taste, if you like clothing. And he always seems to have an in with the shopkeeper to get you the best deals and so forth. And then you come to a part of the bazaar where there is more of the Romani. There's fortune tellers, that sort of entertainment going on. Do you have any interest?
I mean, I have.
I'm interested in any sort of religious or occult practices, as I completely step over Keith.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested in watching it because I'm always, being a magician, I'm fascinated kind of by the showmanship and how they can read people. And
so he takes you, Doshan takes you to a little covered, stall, and he tells the boy behind the desk, he says, we have somebody who wants to have their fortune read. And very mysteriously, he goes into the back for a few moments. Then he comes back out and says, which one of you wants to have his fortune told?
I would.
You guys want to watch?
Oh, yes.
I'll come inside. And you step inside, and the stall is made up, with tapestries and things hanging down, much like you'd expect. There's a small table in the middle of it, a little round table, and he sits you, Dr. Neruda, at the table, and there are chairs around the outside, so he sets you guys all down in the chairs, and then he goes and he pulls on a cord, and the curtain parts, and an old woman comes out, dressed exactly like you'd expect a fortune teller to. She comes out. She has a shawl. She carries in her hand a basket. And inside the basket, there are eggs. And as she comes out, you see accompanying her a chicken. The chicken is black with a bright red comb. It comes out. It seems concerned that she's got the eggs in the basket. And she sets the eggs down next to her seat, and the chicken sort of protects them a bit, and she pulls out a box, a wooden box. It's ornate. She opens it, and there is a large needle inside. And she says something in Serbo-Croatian, and Doshan says, she asks, how far away have you come from?
I came from. That's an interesting question. I'm originally from Argentina.
And she doesn't know where that is, but she smiles, and she reaches down and she picks one of the eggs up. And the chicken, once again, just doesn't look so happy that she's doing this, but she picks up the egg, and she holds out her hand for you to put your hand in hers. And she places the egg in your hand, and she chants something quietly. You don't know the language. Then she takes the egg, she holds it up, and she walks around you 3 times, counterclockwise, and then holds this over that little box that she's got. She takes the needle and she pokes a hole in it, and pokes a hole in the other side, and then she blows the contents out into the box. So the slime of the egg lands in the box, and she looks at it. And I'm not going to go through all the translating back and forth. This is what she says, and it's translated. She looks at it and she says,
"It would seem that you have traveled here for one reason, but you have stayed here for another reason."
And she looks up at you. She says,
"You seek something that was once whole, but is now apart. And it's a very long journey that you're on."
and she looks at you, and she looks at the egg. She looks at the chicken. She looks at the egg.
"There are 3 that have opposed you. 2 of them are known, and 1 is secret. The secret one is the most dangerous of all."
She looks at you, and she says,
"Iron is your metal. Iron is safe for you. Iron will bring you protection in the future. There is a man who you think is a friend, but you're mistaken. You will meet 3 more who are as old as mankind. That's all I can see."
she says,
"I do not know what this means, but it means something to you."
Yes. I will pay extra and leave ashen-faced and pale.
I will tip the woman on your behalf. I'll even add extra to your extra.
like the rest of you to do spot hiddens.
Extreme again.
Hard success.
On
Fail.
5.
Only regular.
All right. Those of you who were watching the whole time, that black chicken kept staring intently at Dabrowski.
Oh,
And that's where we're going to end it for tonight.
Oh, for God's sake. Now I feel now. I have Chicken Man after me now.
Our players included Morgan Llewellyn, David Gassaway, Stuart Lively, Keith Craig, and Josh Harwood, with yours truly as the keeper of arcane lore. We have a Discord server where you can chat with other members. You can set up private games. You can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. If you would like to help support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 a month helps us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure to the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.